I think you can look at instances that have happened there and certainly characterize them as war crimes, but our intent is to end the war.
Is he a war criminal?
We can't end the war without talking to
No,
Mr. Putin.
that's pretty simple. Is he a war criminal?
Well, that's
this man we're negotiating with, Vladimir Putin. Is he a war criminal? That's not tough.
But what? I'm trying to answer your question by telling you that we're trying to end the war here.
Go ahead.
No,
You're
it's not a
equivocating.
simple answer.
You are equivocating, sir. Just answer the question.
I'm answering your question, and the answer is that war crimes have been committed, no doubt. And who's responsible for that? There will be time and place for that accountability. But right now, the job is to end the war.
So you won't answer the question.
If we don't end the war, people are going to get
reclaiming
killed.
my time, sir. Let me go on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to America First, where we don't deal in sound bites or political theater. We deal in truth, strategy, and putting the interests of the American people first. If you're tired of media narratives designed to divide us, if you're tired of partisan spin trying to paint patriots as villains, then smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join a growing community of Americans who see through the noise. Tap the notification bell too. You're not going to want to miss what we've got coming. Today's topic is one that's setting the Beltway on fire, and not for the right reasons. The media mob, political opportunists, and even some fair-weather conservatives are piling on Secretary of State Marco Rubio for his recent testimony in front of Congress. Why? Because he refused to give Representative Bill Keating the soundbite he was so desperately fishing for. Because he didn't blurt out in front of a global audience that Vladimir Putin is a war criminal.
Secretary, in 1944, my uncle, James Arthur Keating, was serving in France, and as soldiers, his fellow soldiers were dying around him, he wrote a letter back in combat, back home, about the cost of human sacrifice and whether it was worthwhile to defend a piece of mud on the earth. Only a week after that letter, he answered that question while carrying lead in himself, as one of the people in his command was exposed and injured. He was wounded himself carrying lead and crawled out there, brought him back to safety, saved his life, and as he was going for another person, was machine gunned to death himself and killed in action. 400,000 other American families gave the same sacrifice, but the peace and prosperity that came forward the world has never seen. It's a transatlantic alliance where our allies sacrificed their young men and women when America was attacked in 9/11, and economically, they're a $1.6 trillion trading partner with us with 16 million jobs on both sides of the continent. So my questions today are looking for clarity on where we stand with our allies and partners for more than 80 years, because they're expressing their doubts. They're expressing their doubts publicly. They've expressed it to me privately. So as the face of our country, as the lead foreign policy representative in the United States, I'm just looking for this clarity. So first, simply answer this question, if you will. Is Russia the aggressor in this Ukraine war?
Yeah, Russia invaded Ukraine.
So they are the aggressor in this war, correct?
They invaded them, yes.
Well, thank you, sir, because it's important to get this clarity, because President Donald Trump said it was Ukraine that started this war, and our allies have the right to know this. Secondly, the person we're negotiating with, Vladimir Putin, is he a war criminal?
Well, I think you can look at instances that have happened there and certainly characterize them as war crimes, but our intent is to end the war.
Is he a war criminal?
We can't end the war without talking to Mr. Putin.
That's pretty simple. Is he a war criminal?
Well, that's
this man we're negotiating with, Vladimir Putin. Is he a war criminal? That's not tough.
But what? I'm trying to answer your question by telling you that we're trying to end the war here.
Go ahead.
No,
You're
it's not a
equivocating.
simple answer.
You are equivocating, sir. Just answer the question.
I'm answering your question, and the answer is that war crimes have been committed, no doubt. And who's responsible for that? There will be time and place for that accountability. But right now, the job is to end the war.
So you won't answer the question.
If we don't end the war, people are going to get
reclaiming
killed.
my time, sir. Let me go on. Because I don't understand this. Because you're sitting in front of us now as Secretary of State. It wasn't long ago that you were sitting as a senator with Secretary of State nominee Rex Tillerson at the time, in the exact same circumstances, only reversed, and you questioned him about Putin directing attacks against schools, markets, hospitals, playgrounds, and on top of this, in this instance, he's abducted 20,000 children, a clear war crime. So you were very clear then. Vladimir Putin was a war criminal. Now you're unmaking him a war criminal, and you won't answer the question about the exact same circumstances.
You're putting words in my mouth.
I'm reclaiming my time, sir.
You're putting words in my mouth.
And you know what you said to Secretary
That's not what I
Tillerson
said.
at the end of his answer when he equivocated just as you are right now?
I've not equivocated.
You said,
You just don't let me
it sure
answer.
sounds like it to me. Then I'll give you a second chance. Is Vladimir
never gave me a
Putin
first
a war
chance.
criminal?
I already told you war crimes have been committed.
No, you didn't tell me if
Well,
he's
I
a
can't
war
even-
criminal.
Mr. Chairman, am I allowed to answer questions?
I'm
or just
reclaiming
be
my
hectored?
time, sir, and listen,
Well,
I'm
if you
using
keep
your own
reclaiming
words so you don't have to answer. Did you know what you said to then nominee Secretary of State Tillerson? You said you were very discouraged in his inability to accept that Putin was indeed a war criminal. Your words, we don't need any more. You're inconsistent. The third question I have, sir, is this.
I answered your question. You just don't let
You
me
did
answer.
not answer the question about Putin's
Well, you
war
keep
criminal
reclaiming your
conduct
time.
in Ukraine.
You ask me a question, then you reclaim your time. So how can I answer
You
the
answered
question?
it. Listen, let me go forward with this. 3 questions. And I'm
Or are you
being
gonna
pretty
reclaim
clear to
time
you.
on those too?
I'm giving you a chance to answer. Give me a chance to ask the question. Here it is. So there's a concern among these allies that we've had, our closest allies, about the one-sidedness of the negotiations with Russia and Ukraine.
Gentlemen's
Regular
time has
order.
expired. Secretary Rubio, if you'd like to respond, by all means.
Can
go
I
ahead.
reclaim my time for a few seconds? Thank you. Number one, crimes have been committed in the war on Ukraine, and there will be accountability for that. But our goal right now is to end that war, because let me tell you, every single day that war goes on, more people are killed, more people are maimed, and frankly, more war crimes are being committed every day that the war lasts. Number one. Number two, I don't know how European allies could say that. I talk to European allies literally every single day. I see or talk to the foreign minister of the UK and France and Germany more than I see or talk to my own kids in some days.
Chairman,
So these are all
I'm
falsehoods.
reclaiming my
It's not
time
recognized.
now.
You have no time.
Because
You're not
you've given him
recognized, Mr.
time,
Keating.
and I ask unanimous
Not
consent.
recognized, Mr. Keating.
Chairman,
You're not
I'm
recognized.
asking for unanimous consent to
Mr.
put in
Keating,
the record.
you're not recognized. The
I
Secretary
am
is speaking.
asking unanimous consent to put in the record
Mr. Keating, you're not
the
recognized.
op-ed. Oh, so you're not going to recognize, Mr. Chairman?
Not
Point of order.
recognized in this
Anyone
moment.
that asks unanimous consent to put in for the record a document,
Keating,
you're not allowing
you
that?
are not recognized right now. Your time expired. You might have a minute and a few. Mr. Secretary, please continue.
The last point is, our goal is to end this war. We have to be able to talk to both
Point of
sides
order,
in order
Mr.
to do it.
Chairman.
In order to be, we have to end this
My
conflict.
time is answered. His time answering my question ended too. It's the next person's time. That's the rules in this committee. When you
Secretary,
won't even
please
let a
continue.
person enter into the record something from our ambassador till recently from Ukraine, Ambassador Brink,
Mr.
who
Keating
resigned
should-
because of the conduct
Keating,
of
you
this
should keep a
administration
better eye of the clock
after
right in front
30
of you.
years of service, sir.
You should keep a better eye of the clock in front of you. Your time expired. Continue.
Our goal is to end this war so more people don't die. And by the way, we want all those kids returned back to their homes that were kidnapped from their parents. We just want people to stop dying. Every day this war goes on, people die, things are destroyed, and lives are ruined. And we want it to stop.
Now, let me say this up front, so we're not mincing words. Marco Rubio did not defend Vladimir Putin. He did not deny that atrocities have occurred in Ukraine. He did not sweep war crimes under the rug. What he did was demonstrate what real statesmanship looks like in a world that's quick to react, but slow to think. Rubio was calm, clear, and deliberate. He stated flatly that Russia invaded Ukraine, an act of aggression that triggered a war that has destroyed cities taken lives and sent shockwaves across the globe. He also stated, unequivocally, that war crimes have occurred. That's not backing down. That's telling the truth. But he refused wisely to call Putin a war criminal in the middle of sensitive diplomatic efforts. And that, my fellow patriots, is how real leaders lead. Let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Right now, we are trying to end a brutal war. Every day it goes on, innocent people die. Children are kidnapped. Families are broken. Infrastructure is bombed. Entire communities are wiped off the map. And Rubio understands that diplomacy is not about posturing. It's about preventing the next tragedy before it happens. When you're Secretary of State, your words don't just echo through a hearing room, they reverberate across the globe. If Rubio had called Putin a war criminal right there, right then, he would have done exactly what Putin wants: harden the lines, kill negotiations, and deepen the conflict. That's not leadership. That's recklessness. Now, let's address Congressman Keating. He brought up Rubio's past comments during a confirmation hearing for Rex Tillerson, where Rubio, then a senator, pressed Tillerson to define Putin's actions for what they were. And you know what? Rubio was right to do so back then. But here's the difference. At that time, Rubio wasn't negotiating an end to a war. He was holding a nominee accountable. Two very different roles with two very different responsibilities. Being a senator is about holding people accountable. Being Secretary of State is about keeping the world from falling apart. It's easy to grandstand from the cheap seats. It's a lot harder to sit in a hot seat and make decisions that could either save or sacrifice thousands of lives. Rubio chose responsibility. He chose restraint. Not because he's weak, but because he's smart. Because he knows that when you're in that chair, every single word matters. And here's what the media won't tell you. Rubio did say that there will be accountability. He said clearly that once this war ends, justice must follow. That's what separates Rubio from the keyboard warriors and opportunistic politicians who want easy headlines. Rubio is playing the long game because that's how real peace is built. He also pushed back on Keating's claim that our allies are growing uncertain. Rubio stated that he talks to foreign ministers from the UK, France, and Germany more than he sees his own kids some weeks. That's the mark of a man who's working tirelessly, not just for peace in Ukraine, but for stability around the world. And let's talk about that moment when Keating tried to enter an op-ed into the record and got denied. The media is trying to frame that as Rubio dodging criticism, but let's be honest, that was procedural chaos. If the chairman doesn't recognize you, you can't just bulldoze your way in. That's how our system works. If Keating wanted to make his case, he should have stuck to the rules instead of trying to create a viral moment. What we saw in that hearing room was not a scandal. It was not a cover-up. It was a moment that separated a statesman from a showman. Rubio wasn't being evasive. He was being responsible. He wasn't being weak. He was being wise. And he wasn't betraying American values. He was protecting them by doing everything in his power to stop a war that's killing innocent people every single day. This is the kind of leadership we need right now. Not hot takes. Not gotcha questions. Not bumper sticker foreign policy. But calm, steady, disciplined leadership. Someone who understands that strength isn't about shouting. It's about knowing when to hold the line and when to build a bridge. So don't fall for the media hysteria. Don't take the bait from Twitter mobs and cable news anchors. Look at the facts. Watch the full exchange. And then ask yourself, who do you want speaking for America on the world stage? A man trying to score a headline or a man trying to stop a war? Marco Rubio made the right call. He did what a real Secretary of State should do. And we at America First are proud to stand behind him. If you agree, if you believe in truth, strength, and peace through principled diplomacy, then join us. Subscribe to this channel. Share this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts. And most importantly, keep demanding accountability, but also wisdom from our leaders. Thank you for watching. God bless you. God bless our troops. And as always, God bless the United States of America.